Um, the way this has started out this morning is kind of how our week went. Moving, it's been a long week, let me just say. Last week, we got up for church. I had told Amber all week, and even a few people had said, they didn't expect us to be here because they knew we were moving and it was a long week, and everyone would say, well, we'll see you the week after. Oh no, we're going to be here. We plan to be here. And somebody else would say the same thing. Well, we'll see you the following week. No, we plan to be here. We wanted to be at church. I wanted to hear Doug speak. I've never heard Doug preach. I wanted to hear something new, but my dresser didn't get packed. I didn't have anything to wear. That day we stayed at home. We ended up Monday back. We didn't know that. We just could not find my clothes. We looked everywhere, and we had so many people help. Things were just shoved all through the house. We talked too much, and throughout moving, we talked and talked and talked and didn't get anything done. So when it came time to get everything out of the U-Haul, everybody was just getting everything out, just shoved it in the house, bedroom stuff in the living room stuff in the bathroom stuff in the, everything's all over the place. Monday then went down to the house, still didn't know where my clothes were, and in our bedroom at the old house was built-ins, and all of my clothes still in the built-ins. Amber went over and pulled, well, there's your socks, well, there's your pants. Yeah, everything was still, nobody even opened it. Now, I'm not taking the blame for that. Now, I know they're my clothes, and I probably should have looked where my clothes were, but I was the heavy lifting guy. That was, I guess it's my fault, I don't know. But all week long, from the very beginning, Thursday, before we moved, my foot swelled up. I'm normally pretty healthy. I just thought I stoved it, something, I don't know. I didn't really worry about it. But even still today, my foot is still swelled. Debbie told me to talk to Kathy. I think I have gout. I need educated on why my foot is swelled. But it's sore and it hurts, and I don't want people saying, so what happened to your foot? Why are you limping? So I have tried real hard not to limp. And now I got the other side of my foot sore from walking funny. It's sore clear up my calf, and just having a hard week. And but all of this is because I didn't prepare well. I didn't. When we were going to rent the U-Haul, well, I was afraid of that U-Haul to begin with. I had never driven anything so big, and so I kept thinking, well, we don't need the great big one. We can get the smaller one. Then I thought I could drive that. Well, maybe even this. We don't have that much stuff. I'm going to get even the smaller one. We needed the one bigger than the bigger one, which we did not get. We were still last night. After the bonfire, we went after one more load. Every time we would drive down, every day after work, I get done around midnight. I'd go over to the old house, fill the truck up, and drive up here, unload it, go to bed. Next day, get up for work. So I'm tired, my foot hurts, and my leg hurts, and we just did not have a good week. I'm not a good complainer. Honestly, I had those things wrote down to complain. I wanted to purposely complain. I'm just not good at it. Just to try to remember to complain, I had to write down what I wanted to complain about. But I wanted to start out complaining. That is funny, isn't it? I mean, to see somebody outside of their character trying to do something that's not their character. My foot does hurt. All that stuff did happen. But for me, I just don't complain in that way. Yeah, my foot does hurt, but I get to use it as an excuse to sit down. See, that's a good thing. You can find a good thing in anything. Like, honey, my foot hurts. I want to go sit down. She's like, okay, honey, take, don't hurt yourself. Like, yeah, I gotta sit down. But in everything, like complaining about the U-Haul, we didn't get the big one because we thought we could get everything in the smaller one. But me and Amber got to spend time in the truck this week. We love to travel. And we didn't get the big U-Haul. We had to make more loads. But I tell her all the time, if you're in a truck with me, well, I don't really care what we're doing. Whether we're sitting in the living room watching TV together, or, well, most of the time we'll sit down in the living room to watch TV. We just end up talking and don't even turn the TV on. So you might think we had to take all those extra loads, extra gas, spent the money on gas, but we got to spend time together in the truck. And as far as a blessing would go out of that, God knew, Randy's going to mess this up. I'm going to have to give him some extra money. This week, in tips, I'm a pizza delivery guy, I deliver pizza. Tips were overwhelming this week. The way I save my money, I have different envelopes that I take my tip money and I put it in the envelopes. I ended up with $80 just in gas money this week. So we may have had to make more trips back and forth, but I had gas money left over even. God can tell when you're going to need something before you know you need it. And this week also, because I knew we were going to be busy. Everyone has, or I've heard a few people say, we like it when you talk more than when you read. I read my messages because I wanted to preach for a long time, and I have so much stuff that I want to say. If I don't put what I want to say on paper, I will be all over the place and we'll all go home confused. So I try to stick to what I have on my papers so that I don't get out of control. But since I knew this week we would be busy all week, I'm trying it. I'm going to try to, I have 2 papers and one of them is only halfway full. Usually it's like 8 pages long. And yeah, I'm sitting here basically reading my message. But I want to try this week. I went over it's a longer ride to work. So I went over my message in my head on my way to work, what I wanted to say instead of just reading it. I do have some things wrote down, and this morning I sat down to go over my message. I do every Sunday morning, and I started writing things. And I thought, I'm going to end up reading all of that. So I stopped and I walked away. Then Amber will usually go over my message. A lot of times she'll say, this doesn't make sense. What do you mean here? Or make sure you say this because I really like that. And she sat down and she said, well, that's not much. And she's like, well, you should, let me write this in here because I want to make sure you say this. And what the title of my message is Check Yourself. And we joked this week, there's a saying, check yourself before you wreck yourself. That's kind of what this is about. Because you can wreck yourself if you don't check yourself. If you don't pay attention to yourself, you can really wreck yourself. I heard my pastor, one of the first messages that I heard him preach was about self-awareness. And I did write down, I will be reading a little bit of my message. I wrote down self-aware. And being self-aware means you have the ability to focus on yourself and how your actions, thoughts, and emotions do or don't align with your internal emotions. Which can mean basically how you act, how we sometimes meet up here complaining. Do you really want people to see you as a complainer? How you act can come out. Like you say you're a Christian, but you're up here complaining. Are people going to see a Christian or are they going to see a complainer? How you say you are, do you behave the way that you say you are, or do you behave in a different way? On Facebook a lot, sometimes you can really get the way people are by their posts more than what they say they are. So, a few of my friends will be on Facebook just ranting and raving all the time, but in person, I know them personally, that's not how they are. So, say there's people here that I don't know, but I may know them from Facebook. When you introduce yourself to somebody, or when you meet somebody for the first time and you know them from Facebook, but then when you're meeting them, that's not how they are. That's how you can be as a Christian. You can, for years I claimed to be a Christian. A friend of mine does not want to be, doesn't claim to be, not a Christian at all. But when I started going to church, I had been in church my entire life, never acted like a Christian. When I met Amber, when I really thought God is, there's more than the way I've been behaving as a Christian. And this friend of mine told me, yeah, but you claim to be a Christian your entire life. At that moment, I knew, yeah, I can't be the way that guy was. My actions, the way that I am, has to be different than what it used to be. If I'm going to say I'm a Christian man, I have to behave that way. As far as complaining goes, there are times when you have to say, you can't always be the bubbly guy. You can't always be, sometimes you have to say, man, I had a bad week. Sometimes we have to allow people to say, hey, what's going on? Let me know, get it out, cry on my shoulder, whatever. Psalms 22:1, David. I think I just used this verse not too long ago, but I like David. I read about David a lot. Anyhow, it says, my God, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from saving me, so far from my cries of anguish? At times, I know sometimes there are people who just complain all the time. But maybe they don't have anybody to listen to them. Maybe they complain a lot because they just need somebody to sit down with them and really just let them cry on your shoulder. Like I said, I do know people that complain a lot. And I know, I really try hard to give people my attention. But in certain situations, I know that I haven't done that. And I know people that complain a lot, and I think, man, in my life, I feel like they've complained so much that I kind of like, I don't want to hear it anymore. That's so bad. I need to maybe go to those people and sit down with them and maybe not tell them, hey, complain on my shoulder, cry on my shoulder, but just maybe sometimes people just need somebody to listen to them. This is different, not having all my notes to read from. I feel like I'm rushing through and not, like I say, I've always felt like I had so much to say in my head, but if I don't put it on the paper, I start to think, you're not doing this right. I talked to my pastor about it. I told him that I do read a big part of my message, and he said there's two kinds of, in his mind, there's two kinds of pastors. There's those that are just good conversationalists, that throughout their whole message, they know what they want to say, but they're good at conversing. Then there's others that have a point that they want to say, and they will have all of their points in their message. And the only way to really get them points out is to read it. So that without M and N, the alphabet is not the whole alphabet. I could miss something. This is how I think in my brain, that I could miss something and it wouldn't make, the whole message wouldn't make sense if I would miss, say, M and N. But anyhow, to move on to what the Bible says about our attitude. In Philippians 4:8, it says, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, If anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. We should think about our lives as though they are praiseworthy and speak of it in that way. Amber says all the time, I'm a little kid, that I'm forever optimistic. But I met Amber's dad probably 15 years ago, and he was always optimistic, even about me. I wasn't in a good place then. He was optimistic about me, introduced me to his daughter. Our lives can sometimes be to where there's no optimism there, but there is. We're alive. There's a God in heaven that has a life for us that we don't see. I wanted to save this for later, but it actually fits right now. Hebrews 11, 1 through 3. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. This is what the ancients were commended for. By faith we understand that the universe was formed at God's command, so that what is seen was not made out of what is visible. What our future is not visible to us. People in our future, our house in our future, will we be in school in our future? If we are in school, what school? Like you talked about the seniors. Their future is so invisible right now. There's no way for them to visualize their future. It's things that are unseen. The whole world, trees, everything. I listened to a podcast this week. A woman, she's a cave diver, and she's an author or makes movies. She's a cave diver, and she says the things that she sees in caves, they go down and they map out caves, underwater caves, or whatever, scuba diving. And the things that they see have never been seen. You cannot explain the animals that she sees until you see them. The whole world, you cannot explain to anybody what it would look like because nothing was ever visible before. That's our future. And if we live life like I did this morning, complaining about this and that, just constantly complaining about basically what we don't know what's going to be in the future, when you get there, it probably won't be that great because your attitude towards it before you got there was not great. If you live your life like this week here, we knew it was going to be a busy week, but I just kept telling her, if you're in the truck with me, I will be fine. As long as we're not separated from each other. I mean, that's what our life is. We're a married couple. We love being together. As long as you're with me, I don't care how long it takes. We don't see each other much through the week. She works in the morning and I work at night. So when we do get to be together, I don't care what we're doing. Kind of like fishing. She doesn't like it. I do. But she likes photography. We just learn to mesh those things together, to mix them up. She'll take her camera and I'll take my fishing pole. She's taking pictures she'll be clear down in the mud and the dirt, taking a picture of a little bug. She'll be like, honey, look at this, honey, look at this. My bobber's moving. I can't, not right now, you know. She's hollering for me to enjoy what she's doing, and I'm hollering for her to enjoy what I'm doing, and we just kind of mesh those things together. If it was differently, and I would say, honey, my bobber's moving, just be quiet for a minute, you know, or if she'd be like, you're not going to catch it. You never do. Just lay the pole down, come over and look at what I'm doing. And she's right. Maybe this whole summer I've caught 5 fish. But it's hard for me to explain what I'm thinking because I'm not naturally a complainer. She can do just about anything, and I don't like my kids. Most people in my life, they can do just about anything, and I kind of don't care. They don't mean nothing mean towards me. Everybody's attitude is different. So for me to kind of be like, I wanted to be able to come up here and really just complain. I wanted to walk in this morning and just complain all day, and just so you could see me differently. I just couldn't do it, you know. And that is, Amber always says that I'm like a little kid. She said, little kids don't. What'd you say the other day, honey? She said
Like
something.
Christmas every day.
Yeah, it's like Christmas every day. I wake up just, I don't know, just the smallest little things. But it's from 15 years ago when I met her dad. My life was not good. Meeting Jesus, I'm going to try not to get emotional, but meeting Jesus, living your life wholeheartedly for Jesus, see, Kathy can cry and talk, I can't. But meeting Jesus changes things. I'm going to ugly cry. I wasn't. I had a dream. About Amber's dad last night. No, I wasn't going to tell anybody because it affects me like this. I get ordained today, and I dreamed about her dad. I don't remember the dream, just that he was there. I was just going to try to not say anything about it, especially her. And for those who don't know, he led me to Christ. He passed away 2 years ago. And it's just hard to talk about him. Now I don't know what I was. I'm all messed up now. But anyhow, yeah, he just showed up at my house one day, invited me to church. And now I'm here. And when he did that, he basically didn't know, like I've been saying, I get tears in my glasses and everything. You never know things unseen. 15 years ago, he didn't know I'd be married to his daughter. I used to carry a Bible all the time that he gave, when he gave me that Bible, he said, go off and be a pastor. He didn't know that I would be here today. Today is my ordination day. I will be an ordained pastor today. The way we affect people is unknown to us. When you meet, I've never met you, or you, or you. I have met you. Only 3 people that I have never met. My life today, my message today will affect you. You may not ever remember a word of what I said, but everything in our lives affects us. And my whole message could have been about all negative. I really believe I would have affected you negatively. If we meet people, your friend that needs prayer, praying for him today will affect him in the future. We don't know how. His life will be affected. You caring for him, wanting him to find a job, that will change in the future. We don't know. But if you think about it negatively, it will be negative. If you think about things positively, it will be positive. And like I said, David complained. He did. But he was a man after God's own heart. You don't get to be a man after God's own heart by being a complaining, negative person. You can have a bad day. You can complain about something. But also, the Bible does say, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, and anything, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about it in such things. Our lives are praiseworthy. Jesus made us not to be unpraiseworthy. The angels in heaven long to be like us. They want to be like us. We are praiseworthy. So think about your life as though it is noble, it is right, it is pure, it is lovely. That is your life. Think about it that way and live life that way. Let us pray.